What I'm about to share with you just may change your life. I have spent over 10 years figuring this out, and what I'm about to share with you is going to save you so much time and frustration and suffering in just the next few minutes. When we're grieving the loss of our loved one, we all do this. We all want so desperately to have what we used to have. We want to go back. We want to go back in time. We yearn for it. We long for it. And we ache for what we had. A few years ago, I had a widow in one of my groups, and she asked me this gut-wrenching question. And she said, how do we stop wanting what we had? And it just hit me right in the heart. And I felt that pain of the question that she was asking. How do we stop wanting what we had? I really felt it to my core. She said, I loved my husband and our life together, and what we had was just perfect. So, how do I stop wanting that? She said, I just feel stuck. I feel stuck. I have said that so many times. Have you? Most of the widows that I've talked to have, at some point in their grief journey, told me that they feel stuck. They have a string of good days and then a terrible day. They feel like they're taking one step forward and then two steps back, and they feel stuck, like they will never stop suffering. They also ask, how do I stop wanting what I had? There are a couple of things I want to share with you about this. The grief you are feeling is that you want this thing, this person, this life that you had, and you don't have it. You can't have it. You had this person and now they're gone, and we can't get them back. This is about attachment. Grief is the loss of your attachment to that person. And look, there is no timeline for the attachment that we wish we still had. So it's okay to still want what you had months and even years later. And we get to be upset and frustrated and angry at whatever time those emotions come up. We get to feel cheated. We get to feel cheated. The unfairness and the permanence of the loss are the hardest things to get through. That's where we long for the past and yearn for that relationship. That is grief. That's where all of these big emotions come in like a whirlwind. We get into an emotional loop and we feel like we can't get out of it. But here's a different perspective. What if you're not stuck? What if you just don't feel safe moving forward? So we think about people who have lost a loved one and they don't want to move forward, or they feel like they can't move forward. They hate how they feel and they hate what they're going through, but they can't move forward. What's really happening is that they don't feel safe letting their grief go because it feels like the only way that they're still attached to their loved one. If they let go of grief, then they let go of their loved one too. They don't know how else to stay connected to them. So they stay in the same house that they lived in for all of those years with their spouse, even though they're not happy there anymore. They say, oh, I don't want to move because this is where we built our life together. And moving feels like losing that. Or they keep all of their spouse's old things and clothes because they feel connected to them through those material things, even though it's so painful to look at them and to have them around. They still try to live their old life somehow and never change anything because they're trying to stay connected to their loved one. And yet they are not happy living that way. The pain is now their connection to the person who passed. So the question is then, what if I'm not stuck? What if I just don't feel safe moving forward? I don't feel safe moving forward or moving in any other direction for that matter. So I'm just going to stay here. So the questions we need to ask ourselves, what doesn't feel safe? Losing certain attachments doesn't feel safe. And sometimes the only thing we can do is grieve those attachments. And then we can say to ourselves, okay, you're not stuck. You're just not feeling safe moving forward. And in order to do that, you need to analyze it and find out, One, why don't you feel safe? And two, what could help you feel safe? What things can you put in place that will make you feel safe moving forward? Everybody goes through this process differently. Let's go back to the moving example. For many of the widows that I've talked to, they may not feel safe moving out of their home. So instead, they choose to redecorate or remodel their home. They still feel some connection there, but they are also moving forward at a pace that feels right to them and a pace that feels safe. The goal is to stay connected to your spouse or loved one and grieve them at the same time. You can start to sort of re-emerge in life and go to parties again, go to weddings again, travel again. And that doesn't mean in any way that you are letting go of your spouse. It just means that you are carrying the loss differently. You can feel safe attending those events by yourself and not feel awkward or scared. Maybe going to a wedding alone is too much right now. So, what would make you feel safe? Maybe ask your sister or a friend to go with you. That's a step. That's a safe, moving forward step in a different direction. And I know it's not your first choice. I know that. And of course, your first choice is to have them back by your side. Of course, that's what you want. But what is the next best option? Ask if he or she can't be here, what's the next best option? And feel at peace with that next best option. So remember this, you're not stuck. You just don't feel safe. So what do you do? How can you begin to feel safe in your own body, in your own home, in a way that makes you function again? This is how you can start to move forward after losing your loved one. I truly hope this helps. I hope this helps. And please share this with someone else who may need to hear it. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next video, and I'll see you the next time.